So the following is a review for a video game that I did I actually started it in late 2018 and I completed it at, I think it was early 2019. I'll have to check the upload on my other channel, but the reason I'm showing you is extra content from me and you get to hear my voice. So I'm sure you will be interested, I hope. Um, if you didn't, then please tell me because I can take that criticism. I honestly can, not because of the quality of it, but because maybe you think what was the relevancy. So let me just clean. So if that's the case, then I totally get it. I really do. I just don't want to show you something and it doesn't make you happy. It's 21 minutes of a review for a video game, and I really tried. I put so many hours into it. It's not that I'm bragging, it's that because there's nothing to brag about in a way. The I don't know what it is about the algorithm or whatever, but there was no views at all. It's hard to know how many independent views there were because I'd say a majority of them would be me. For example, the first time I watched it, and then going on to the video to actually download it so I could then upload it. So that's two already. And then you have maybe a third time when I watched it a different kind of time. And then I think I remember showing my mum the video as well. So that's four times. I don't even know how many views because it's not irrelevant. Views do not make a person happy, of course. That is understandable, but I'm so gutted, because yeah, I might be smart, and I guess I worked for it in a way because I teach myself or whatever, but it's kind of like, well, I'm born with it, so I didn't really earn that distinction itself. I was just born with that ability. Um, but that review itself, because it contained, first of all, my voice, I bought myself a good microphone. It it is one of the proper microphones where, let me just show you, for example, where it's like it has a stand, and also there's a wee guard in front of it too, like a small mesh kind of half transparent, translucent guard on it. For it's called a pop filter, so that and the reason for that is because like popping noises at in the wrong microphone can sound very irritating and just not nice. But yeah, I can't remember how much I spent on it, but well, yeah, it must be, yeah, it has to be 2019 now. Coming to think of it, because I got a new PC at that time, early 2019, and then I immediately, well, actually, I was starting the review. I was filming all the gameplay you can see is me playing that game to show. So it's like, instead of robbing someone else's footage, which I could have, I played the game and I saved parts, and then I could show off certain parts of the video game. But aside from the pop filter, I did buy an PC at that time, but it wasn't necessarily for that. That was just a project that I was thinking about for a few months before that, and I remember starting the year being very excited. But yeah, YouTubers do start off slow and then they pick up pace. Because there was no comments, no real engagement. I kind of just said I'm not bothering, because it took a lot out of me mentally. Uh, if I started getting engagement, then I would have tried even harder to make the next one. But the reason I didn't make another one is because I thought, what's the point? Uh, Even though if I kept trying since then, let's just say a review once a month, then what's that, 4 years ago? So like that's you already have 50 months. So if I tried 50 different reviews, let's just slim it down a little and say 45, because maybe it takes me more than a month or something, depending on how much effort I make. So 45. After 45, then I would kind of have a good idea whether or not my if I have an audience to begin with. If I made 45 and still I was without any kind of views and stuff like that, then I would probably stop around 50. I would probably try my 50th, because it's a nice round number. I would probably see number 50 as kind of like, okay, that's my last one, and if it works, it works to some degree, and that gives me motivation. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But yeah, it wasn't meant to be like a career or anything. People can make careers out of YouTube videos. And I don't mean like sponsorships, which is a case, but from revenue from actual videos themselves. People can make large amount of money from just the advertising money from people viewing their video. It's astonishing the way I could do it. There's other ways too, like merchandise and stuff like that. I would say reviewers probably, yeah, game reviewers, for example, the top of the top would probably get access to games early, which I know they do because I watch lots of game reviews. Their biggest amount of views, I'd say they could break 1 million, but that's not exactly very common. If a certain game was controversial, or if the game was super relevant for some reason, or there was something about that particular video that was particularly special, then yeah, I could break 1 million. But let's just say the top echelon people, I don't mean big businesses either. There's a big business like IGN, which is basically the it's basically like a big company that do reviews, and they're they have news. I think the N in IGN is actually news, but so it's kind of like journal. It is journalism. So it's basically, even though everyone in the gaming sphere hates, like everyone that makes sense and anyone that actually has sense hates IGN. I certainly do. And the reputation is kind of bad, but I don't mean big companies like those, and they may not be gigantic companies, but they're far bigger than any one person would be, and that's the kind of and that's what I mean. I was just listening to a review and watching it as well a few nights ago, and I can't remember how many views it had, but it had quite a good few. It definitely did have quite a big number, and like I was really impressed by what people said. I was already subscribed to the fellow, AGN, I think it is. That's the name of the channel. But I Yeah, it's actually kind of weird. AGN and IGN. Yeah, I just never even thought of that until there now, but it's completely different. This channel AGN is just it could be AGN. Let's just say it is one guy, just one guy. I don't. He may have someone maybe making the video itself, and he might just provide the review, the script, and the voice, and then someone else edits the video. But most people starting off, they start by doing everything themselves. I certainly did. As I said, I bought the microphone. I voiced 21 minutes of the whole thing, and I I really made sure that it was done right. Like there's a name. I'm trying to think of the name now. Hideki Kamiya. When I was trying to say that in the video, and let's say if you're watching now, you might say, that's what he means. But yeah, when I was doing that video, I remember having to do a few takes. You know, like movies have a few takes and stuff. So I kept having to do it a few times, maybe 5 times, and I kept fluffing the words up. I wrote a script, and I can't really remember. I can remember reading the script from my screen, but I can't remember the actual writing of the script or anything. But I would have. Oh, there's many things I would have done differently today. Many things. But before that, yeah, so it was my voice that I provided. I also edited everything. So I made sure that everything was edited to what I liked. At the end, because the editing part itself was taking the longest time, it burnt me out by the time I was finished. So let's just say that video itself garnered 100 to 150 views, which is small, very small, but that would have likely motivated me to actually create another one. But because that didn't happen, I was completely burnt out. So, because of the editing part, and like I said about the script, I wrote my own script, and as I said, I provided the gameplay footage, and I researched the all the details that was in the video, like the director's name, Hideki Kamiya, and the year came out and certain other details. Like I've hundreds of hours in that game, so I know it off by heart. So I was able to talk about it. I did play it to get footage, like I said, but also a bit of a refresher. And every once in a while, I would play a bit, and then there would be something that comes to mind when I see it or hear it, and then I write it down. So I have that part in my head, and then jot it down, and then put it to the review. And playing the game was the fun part, of course, and researching it. I guess I can do the notes and stuff and the script writing, but and the editing was fun itself. But by the end, I was completely burnt out. I didn't. It's maybe not. I was going to say I didn't find it fun at the end, but I don't think that necessarily is true. I think by the end I was just burnt out, and I needed maybe a bit of a break. I can't remember how long it took me to actually go from, because there was that bit. I did wait until I got the PC to start the editing. So there could have been a bit of a period where I did do the research, and then I had everything, but then I stopped until I got the PC. So that could have been like a space of a few weeks. I just can't really remember. But let's just say aside from that, it did take about a month as far as I'm aware. Maybe it definitely has to be less, but I started just before the new year, late December. I knew my kind of goals, um, and I was kind of thinking, okay, I'm going to review the first game in the series, and then Devil May Cry 2, Devil May Cry 3, 4, 5, and then a kind of spin off one. Um, and I was excited about it. Like I wanted to start off with a game that's probably in my top 10 games of all time. Like I've been playing it for 20 years, so I know a lot about it, and it brings back so many cool memories. I remember the very first time I played it. I came back from my friend's Dean's house. Oh wait, actually, yeah, I think I mentioned it. I definitely mentioned my friend, but I can't remember if I mentioned when I actually came back. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, I I think I mentioned this in the video, which is a bit embarrassing, but yeah, he was the same age as me, and we were both 11, um, like 11 and a half or so. But um, because I was very shy anyway, uh, there was two girls, older girls, kind of flirting with him, and I just felt very uncomfortable. So I didn't know if like they were like if they were interested in him or not. So I was kind of like I was more focused on the game because I can't remember anything else before that, but I remember having the game with me, and it was like we were at a library, and it was outside the library at kind of nighttime, like around 8 o'clock or something. Don't know what month, but it was definitely uh, late 2001, early 2002. So I remember coming back with the game after being on my own because there were my friend was probably doing things that he shouldn't be doing at his age. Um, were very common over here, and I kind of just felt very shy, kind of red faced. But I was more just red faced because it kind of felt like uh, not that I was missing out. I didn't care about that part. I just cared that I was kind of probably looking stupid, like being kind of sat there more focused on getting this game. But I got it, and I went back then to uh, my my mum's house, my house, and that this is in a town called Newton Stewart, Newtown Stewart. Uh, Everyone just says it quickly, Newton, like Newton Stewart. And it's a very quiet village, Newton Stewart. I lived there for 4 years. Um, Feels maybe a little longer, but yeah, it was 4 years. Gosh, I never even thought that I've lived almost in this house just as long as I did in uh, in Newton Stewart. That's crazy. Never, that's weird. Yeah, it's crazy. Can't believe that. Yeah, like I lived there for yeah just about 40 years, and this July will be 4 years. So we are just 3 months away. May, June, July. Oh gosh, it's only two. It's only 2 months, 2.5. Well, no. Weirdly enough, I actually my tenancy was accepted um, on my birthday. Weirdly enough, and I was thinking, what an awesome birthday! Like I get to live in a nice house. Like well, actually sketched the nice house, but I was like, okay, yeah, get it to move into an like a house that could be beginning of a very happy time. And yeah, the house is very disappointing with the repairs that needs to be done and stuff like that. But I just can't believe that I've almost spent just as much time here as I have in Newton. That's crazy. I, pro- I have I was about to say I probably, but I know I have mentioned Newton Stewart before, because where I grew up in Oma, I lived there for the first 11 years of my life. I actually moved to Newton Stewart like a month, just 1 month before my 11th birthday, and then I moved to Newton Stewart because the area became very just bad. It became swamped with drugs and crime. And I remember my dad found a bag of drugs in the backyard, and the person the next door, it was in the garden, and the backyard, and the person next door must have stashed it or just threw it or whatever. So it was the person next door, and my luckily my dad found it. If I found it, who knows what could have happened? For example, I can't remember this at all, but my parents have told me about when I drank some aftershave. So I'm sure it's called aftershave in the Philippines too. I'm sure you know what I mean, but just in case you don't, I'm trying to think. It's like men's perfume, I guess. Like, but yeah, I it wasn't stored away properly, and when I was young, I unfortunately drank some, and then I don't know, sick. I probably was, and I was in the hospital. Not rushed or anything. There was no major incident, but yeah, I had to get my. I'm sure I had to get my stomach pumped, but my mother never said that unless she did, and I just can't remember. But yeah, what I do know for a fact is that I had to go to hospital because I drank some aftershave. But the reason I'm telling you that is because if I could do that, then if I was out in the backyard playing football like I did with myself, I just kicked a ball against a garbage can, then if I found that and I know myself now and back then, and I knew, I would have been very curious. That's for sure. I would have been very, very curious. Not. I don't know if I would have taken them. I don't know what type of drugs it was or anything. But let's just say it was tablets. Then to any kid, they would think it's sweets. They think it's like a chocolate or something, and everybody knows that kind of thing. Like like if a child's seen drugs, they wouldn't know what they're seeing. And that's why, like when you have a kid in your house, you put the bleach in high reach places and all the dangerous stuff in high to reach spots. For example, not for example, well, when you are pregnant, can't wait. But when you're pregnant, I'm going to be researching, I'm going to make a goal of researching every day of your pregnancy about different things to do with parenting. The main goal at that 9 months researching will be a big focus on the first year of the baby's life. But I will still do some research about the advanced years, such as like after from about 3 to 7 years old or something like that. And yeah, one of those things from 3 to 7. I don't think 2 years old would be as old to have the knowledge to go around and unscrewing tops and drinking stuff, but one thing would be to write down a note and say, right, okay, here's a list of things we must do. We must do it, and one of those things would be either put a lock on the cupboards, the storage parts or whatever, for anything that mainly for anything really, like anything potentially dangerous, unless it just had paper. Yes, you get a paper cut, that's probably the worst it could be, but anything from cutlery to matches, of course, and anything in between, most things would need to be locked up. Sorry, I thought I seen someone next door. It's probably just me going like this here, and then the blinds. But yeah, I would do a lot of research with that, and I would try to put stuff down, to have all these ideas, like to put uh, all this kind of structures and methods all into place where the dangerous, especially the most dangerous kind of substances and knives and stuff like that, would be in hard to not just to reach but hard to obtain. So as long as they're hard to obtain and outside the knowledge of a 4 year old, unless the 4 year old is a super genius or something. But yeah, and to kind of teach them a little uh, when they don't have as much common sense, such as don't drink random stuff. Like I don't know how you would really phrase it. Like but yeah, like it's kind of like you drum it into their head a bit, and then they would start to learn. And the good thing is there would be a lot of, even though I would want to do a lot of the parenting myself and with yourself as well, and us two together parenting, like a video, for example, on YouTube, it will definitely help. Like something that can show the kid something that educates them about being safe. And I don't know how this came into all of this, but yeah, I'm in the mood to talk, so I'll talk. But I just like this part talking was only meant to be a few minutes, but yeah, I might as well talk. It's a 6 hour video, so but let me see. Got a notification. All right. But yeah, so yes, I say this now, and then what will I be like then? Because obviously I'm exhausted from, like from getting up early and stuff like that. So obviously there will be probably a time where I'm super happy that I'm a parent and stuff, but my on both of our mental kind of faculties might be a little we might be a little stressed, very happy, but no, not stressed, fatigued. Fatigued would be the perfect word to use, and it is the perfect word to use because like too much of anything is bad, and staying up can be great, but if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to have problems, and the kid, obviously, the baby or baby, will do its own thing. It'll cry when it wants, and we'll go to it every time. Both of us, like either both of us, you or me on my own. I'm happy to do that, babe. I'm happy to share as much as you're happy to share. So I don't know whether 50-50. Like I would prefer to do less, but if you're like, nah, I'd rather you do half, then okay, that's okay. We know like it's not like a problem. It's more like something I would like to discuss. If, for example, if I said, okay, I will do just as many as you do, so what that would mean then to you, maybe, perhaps, you never know, you might actually want to do it a bit more, or you might feel like, oh, the baby's maybe not it's upset or something like that, so you want to go yourself. Not that you don't trust me or you don't think I could do a good enough job. It's more like you're just you just want to do it yourself. Like instead of me in a certain time, which is fine. Um, because you're the mommy, you have, like, we both have an incredible bond with our kid when we have one, and but there's just something special about a mother and baby bondship. Bondship, is that a word? There's something just absolutely special about a mother and their baby. That kind of bond is just incredible to think about. It's kind of like a sixth sense. Six. I was meant to say sixth sense, um, and then I said sixth sense, but no, it is like a sixth sense, and like sometimes they would feel worried when they think something's gone wrong, and then sometimes it's true. There is, like, I'm a person that believes in God, and a person that also doesn't really believe in coincidences. Statistically, coincidences can happen. So I'm a statistical and mathematical person. So I am realistic. So it's like I can't just determine everything as, like, even though everything is God's plan, it's more um, like there is more of a reason. Like, if God created everything, then He created science. So He created science for us to understand that coincidences happen all the time, but there is reasons for some coincidences. And what was the point? What was I talking about? But oh God, I sorry. Um, but yeah, sorry. But what I was kind of saying is that, like, I am a faithful, God loving person, but I'm also kind of someone that believes in, like, details and facts. Like, I don't like just it is what it is a lot of the time. I like to know the reason. So I probably ask a lot of pointless questions at times, or ask a lot of questions when it's a bit like unneeded, or it's not the right time, for example. But in a way, I can't help it, and in a way, I can. But what I kind of deem it as is me wanting to understand, because I think it's my autism that makes me very curious, but also because I don't understand things naturally as other people might. So especially when it comes to, like, people, not me, but other people, and things like that, social, just anything maybe to do with people or communications or socializing, anything social in that manner, then I will probably have weird questions at times, like questions you would expect maybe a child to answer. Um, like, like, I appreciate and I love you for calling me smart and stuff like that, and I love you so much for saying all of these things. However, I can't tie my shoelaces, and that kind of, and to kind of clarify more about that, I guess I'll tell the kind of story now. Well, it's not really a story, but I guess a combination of memories and reasons and stuff. I can't remember, like, all the times I was being taught, but I remember being trying to be taught by a teacher, and I can't remember my response or anything, but I definitely didn't understand. Um, I remember, yeah, I always remember my mum tying my shoes, and yes, she still does. So yeah, it's embarrassing. It's probably the most embarrassing thing about me, especially, when it comes to embarrassment. It's if I do something stupid. So if someone sees me naked, for example, um, or remember I was telling you about the pictures uh, of me topless and stuff, and then someone seeing them, my mum, but no, not that, because it's physical and it's like, okay, I can't change the way I look in my face. I can do exercise and stuff like that there, but when it comes to my intelligence, that's where everything kind of comes together for me. So the fact that I can't do something that I don't know when people usually start tying their shoelaces, but I could imagine a 5-year-old doing it. Perhaps younger. I'm not sure. Be interested to know what's the average age of a child knowing how to tie their shoelaces. It got because I got everything done for me for the first 18 years of my life, and then from then on, when I moved out of my mum's house, I did things for myself, but not completely. So a lot of the time, about a year, my mum did all my kind of food shopping. So I didn't do any of that, but I told her what to get for me. So I didn't do any of that. So I slowly became more independent as time went on. But the reason I'm explaining this is because I may have been independent to a degree, but I certainly wasn't back when I was a kid. So I didn't need to do it because my mum did it, and that I'm sure that's my reasoning back then. Or maybe my reasoning was just, like my mum's going to do it, therefore I don't even care. So I didn't even think about it. Like I wish, yeah, my mum does say she wishes she kind of maybe a bit more independent and spoilt me less. And I'm never going to say I'm not to my mum. I'm never going to say you didn't parent right. Never going to say that because I love my mum and my dad, and they did what they could. And yes, there is some stuff they regret that they could have done. My mum spoilt me too much. My dad, where she got help for his mental health and stuff uh, when I was in my first 10 years. So he could have been in my life more and stuff. And I have many regrets about how I've been as a son. Many regrets, but aside from that, yeah, I had my shoelaces tied for me, and I remember a teacher trying to do it. I uh, I also remember a friend trying to do it. Like the guy didn't care. He was just like, like he was a good friend. He knew anyway, and I was like, he didn't, like he didn't care about that part. He was just a friend in high school. But um, yeah, and that was actually when I was 19. And so then, yeah, I tried to look up online about teaching yourself how to tie your shoelaces. There is a certain part that I can do at the start, but the loop thing, because the demonstrations I see are very fast, to me anyway, they're very fast and hard to keep up with. So I kind of my concentration finds it I find it very difficult to concentrate and understand what's happening because it's very quick. Now, could I learn to tie my shoelaces? Definitely. Like I know a lot of stuff, and I find learning sort of difficult depending on what it is. But I, I feel I am intelligent to learn how to do something like that. So, like it is my autistic brain kind of being incredible at one thing and then being an absolute idiot at something else. And yeah, I'm fine with that overall, but it's something I would like to do. It'd be a nice it'd be a nice goal for me to reach one day. I would actually be delighted. You probably never see me so delighted about something so small. You know, like if I ever did it, my face would just light up. Um, but yeah, so ever since, you know, what happens is if I have shoelaces to be tied, then my mother does it or my dad at times, um, and then I make sure not to untie the shoelaces or not tie them at all. You know, like to not interfere with them so that they don't go loose. Because as soon as they get loose, I don't even know how to tighten it. Like sometimes I could do it a bit right, you know, like, and the way I tie my shoelaces is basically, yes, they are tied, so I have tied my shoelaces, but not the conventional way. Um, Thinking about it now, um, autistic people do things differently, and it's like most average people, when it comes to something, I don't know, but some kind of problem that needs a solution. Maybe most average people with average intelligence, just average people with not as without autism, they could like solve something. You know, like doesn't matter if it's easy or hard, but the way they figure it out from A to B to C. Now, you know, like let's just say C is the goal, the main goal, or let's say A, B, C, D, E, and then E. E's the final part, and it's well, with my autism, sometimes I could think of a problem, but come up with a solution that gets me from A to E without going through the conventional steps. So I could be going like, let's just say, um, B, C, and D are all like they're different. They're different versions. So it's like so well A as well. So my A, B, C, and D steps would all be different, and then it would still lead to E. It would still lead to that same situation. So sometimes I think about something in a conventional way or unconventional way, sorry. And then when someone explains it to me, I'm like, you know, like you know, like it's sometimes something simple as well. But I see this as a good thing because it means that uh, basically people with autism are known to have very creative minds and known to think outside the box, so to speak. But sorry, my nose is a bit itchy. But yeah, it's not like we're trying to do that. We're not. You know, like I suppose no one's actually said that. I think, but no, it's not like we're trying to be quirky or trying to do something different. No, we're just trying to do things normally, and this is our normal. Um, and the more severe the autism, I can understand that the more severe, the more complicated the brain's going to get, and the more difficult it's going to be for. Sorry, I keep thinking that someone's going past the blinds, but it's just because I there's like a telephone pole or not electricity pole, power line, and every time I keep doing that, there I keep seeing it, and because it's a pole, it kind of looks like there's someone, you know, yeah. So sorry if I get distracted sometimes, but yeah. So it's I have a different way of viewing the world. Sometimes, most times maybe, I can get to the same destination. I'd say most times I can get to the same destination. Sometimes, yeah, a lot of the times I do things very conventional. A lot of the times I do things the way is most natural to me. I'm trying to think of examples and I just can't at the moment. I am honestly trying to think, but sometimes when I come up with certain solutions to things that I'm trying to solve, or things that maybe my mother might not think can be solved, or she finds it very difficult, well, when I come up with the solution and explain to her, a lot of the time she doesn't understand fully my idea, and then when she understands it, then she gets it, and then there could be something I'm missing out, like the morals of something, or about the consequences, or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what, but it's definitely happened where I had, to think of a solution to something, and then I do it completely different from most average people, and then whenever I'm told the kind of more normal version, then I'm like, oh yeah, that would have been much easier. But sorry, I'm just going to see if I can. Sorry, wait one sec. Yeah, so I was trying to look at Messenger, but I can't remember if I deliberately switched off the wee bubble that comes up. Like my face would be at the. Well, I'm trying to think. If you're watching it like this, so it would be here. I've seen my face up there and like square. I think yours is more square, whereas mine's is a wee tiny bubble. And I think that's what they call them, bubbles and stuff. But and then if another person messages, it comes up as a separate bubble. But I remember thinking about switching it off, but I can't remember if I did. But because I've tried before, while I'm on video, to go from one tab to the other, that means like from the video or the camera app, as this is, I go from this app to Messenger or Facebook or YouTube or whatever else, settings even, then I see that it doesn't work. And what I mean by it doesn't work is that it it saves the video, and so the video is complete, and it saves it rather than pauses it. Or what I would prefer is that the the filming is still going on without me being on this app. So I have to stay on the app. But I can't remember what I did. But the bubble is back, and I can actually look at your messages properly with the bubble because it doesn't change the app. It only comes up in a like half. So I don't know if it happens like in all phones or your phone, for example, but it's like you'll probably know what I mean. If it's most phones, all phones, it doesn't bring you to the Messenger app. It brings you to like half an app, where it isn't a full screen. So I'll do it right now. So I'm looking at your messages. Uh, yeah. So I'm looking at your messages, and like most of the screen is the Messenger, but I'm still able to talk to you. I can see the time on this particular video going 49 minutes and 15 seconds. So I'm on this app, but I'm also able to do both. Whereas if I go to the app, it's not the same. So I'm very happy with that because that means I should have thought of this way back. Like certain smart things. Like yeah, it kind of goes down to that because I wish I thought of it earlier because what this means now is that any video in the future will mean that as long as I keep doing the bubble way of messaging on from Messenger, then I don't have to sacrifice one over the other. And what I mean, in case you don't know what I mean, is that when I'm filming, I could see your messages pop up in the notifications on the top, but I can't reply. I can go to the reply thing. It's either like and then reply, and then you can reply, but you can only do it once. And then I think you have to go to the app and then you can repeat the thing, but that means you have to do something every. If it was an important reply or something, like I would just stop the video. Like pausing the video doesn't do anything because it just cancels the or sorry, it just stops the video and saves it. Just like you press the middle button to stop the red one. It's a red button here, but so it's very helpful for the future because that means now I can do both. I don't have to like not film to message you, because I don't want to keep you waiting and I don't want you to miss me. And I'll miss you, of course, as well. So it's like, oh, I miss talking to you, even though I'm talking to you, on video. But yeah, you know what I mean. But I also don't want to sacrifice, like, what's the other way? Sacrifice doing the video. Um, yeah, I also, hang on. I actually paused it because my mind went so blank, but I just unpaused it there about 2 seconds afterwards. So, sorry, my mind is just blank. Sometimes it just goes completely blah. Um, so, yeah, in the one hand, I would miss you and still be able to talk to you while I video, so I want that. But, like, so I don't have to just stay on Messenger, like, so I'd be, before I'd have to choose one or the other, like, message you and then wait for the video, uh, wait until sometime later to do the video, or I, uh, or I just do the video and then forego the messaging for a while. And so it's a sacrifice. You have to choose one or the other, messaging or video. And I knew before that it didn't affect the video recording because I remember doing it before for you when I was recording me talking while your messages came in. So I wish it came into my head sooner because now it means, for example, if a message comes in right now, instead of only being able to reply to one message, I can reply to as many as I want. So that's great. So that means now I could talk on video in the future for as long as I want and still be able to message you just as much. So I'm utterly delighted. So that means that there's more time with Daddy now. So um, that makes me super happy because if I'm messaging you, which I love, it also means that I would have to stop before this solution. Before I'd have to stop messaging you to film. So instead of one stop, then the other. So message, stop, video, stop, message. So I could just do video and messaging at the same simultaneously. So so I'm very, very happy with that. I can't believe it took me so long to figure out something that was so obvious. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying. Something so obvious sometimes doesn't really click for a while for me. So what I do is, I try to figure out my own way, and that's what I want to do as well. Like, let's just say if I was trying to do something in a video game, and I know you're not into video games and stuff like that, but the example, it has nothing really to do with video games, and it's in a sense, if I'm trying to figure out a solution to some kind of puzzle or something that has become a puzzle in a video game, like for example, if I'm trying to do something in a video game to progress to the next part or to do a certain special thing or something like that, uh, I would think about it and I would think, how am I going to do this? What kind of methods am I going to do? And it's known, like, people with autism, they find like I said, they go straight from A to E, but they still do their own steps, but their own unique steps. So they might figure out something completely different that goes off the beaten track and is completely different from what most people, like 99% of people, may do naturally. So there may be a solution that whenever people solve it, they might do it very similar to each other in the same method. Whereas people with autism, like, yeah, we could come up with the same solution ourselves, but a lot of the times, our first solution that we come up with is different. So I'm not saying this happens most of the time with everything, but it definitely happens to a degree, and it means that I'm sorry. I need antihistamines because I keep itching. Um, but well, I had a shower earlier, but I didn't wash my hair, and I'm actually planning to have a second shower today because I'm doing some cleaning around and kind of, like, I'm already a bit sweaty and stuff earlier, so I'm going to take another shower, and I was planning that anyway because, um, like, I was either going to take a full shower, like later on today, but because it was warm and because I was doing stuff around the house, I just thought to myself, well, I was going to wash my hair originally, that's what I meant, sorry. But then a few years ago, I was saying, well, I was already just going to wash my hair. No, I'm not sure because I already shared earlier, but then I just thought, why not just a quick full shower and wash my hair properly like I planned? But um, yeah, the time just flew talking about this video game stuff. But um, yeah, the shoelace thing. I would be the happiest man in the world to be able to teach my kids how to tie their shoelaces, and perhaps, and I think that is one thing that I will be doing and practicing for a few years. So what I could do, let's just say, if I started sort of teaching our kid, like slowly, like kind of bit by bit. So I don't know if 3 is too young. It probably is, but for example, I would still talk to the kid, the or son or daughter, the methods. So I'd be like, okay, son, here's how to tie your shoelaces, and I'll be saying, watch this, watch what daddy's doing, and then so it means they're getting more exposed to what tying shoelaces is, and they become more used to it. And like by a couple of years after that, they've seen daddy doing it hundreds of times, and each time I've kind of always drawn their attention to it so they can watch daddy, learn from daddy, and then they could do them themselves. Um, so for me to be able to teach my children, let's just say I've got about 3 years, so does the kid's born. So I suppose, yeah, until you're pregnant, I've got about 3 years and 9 months. That's quite a bit of time. Yeah, I'm trying to think. 3 years and 9 months ago. So what? June, July, August. Oh wow. Yeah, yeah. I can cert. No. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can certainly recall back to 3 years and 9 months ago. So, like for example, if there was one day every maybe either few weeks or month, and I spent that one day every month, like a couple of hours or something like that, throughout the whole day, trying to teach myself, or even better, maybe like every couple of weeks, so it's fresh in my head for 3 years, 9 months, bit by bit. But then, what do you call it? Afterwards, wait, you just sent me the sun emoji by mistake. Hang on, I'm going to reply. Babe sending that emoji. Tut tut tut. So let's just say, okay, let's average it. So if I try every 2 weeks, yeah, because I'll be every day I'll be doing research and stuff. So let's just say it is every 2 weeks. So 3 years and 9 months. So what's 3 years? So that'd be 45 months, wouldn't it? Yeah, yeah. 3 years is 36 months, and then add nine is 45. So 45 months, and that's 90 times. So that'll be like 90 hours. So let's just say I definitely would have the attention span to spend 1 full hour at tying the shoelaces. But what I could do is like 10 minutes or 15 minutes at a time. Like so that's 4 sessions. Uh, 4 sessions in one day. So 4 sessions every 2 weeks. 4 sessions of 15 minutes, and then afterwards, I like I just give up. Then like if I haven't done it, or I try refining it or something like that. But yeah, that would mean that if I have 90 sessions, and that's 90 hours, like that's plenty of hours, like and let's just say even if I only did it like less than an hour or something, let's just say 50 hours, right? Even though it'd be a lot less. But let's just say if I spend 50 hours on it within that amount of time, 3 years, 9 months, by the time I would start to teach or kid, then I would say by that time, after 50 hours, I would have to have a very good grasp on it. I would be shocked if I didn't. Like it just makes so much sense for me to have knowledge of something that if I did it for 50 hours. Now, when it comes to things like flying an aircraft and stuff like that, like you have to have thousands of hours before like you can become like a pilot and stuff like that, a licensed pilot. But it's only just time of shoelaces. So 50 hours, even if that's minimum. So let's just say 50 to 100 hours. So 100 max, 50 to 100 hours in the space of 3 years and 9 months. And then I would still, if I by that time didn't know, I would still try. I would probably have you tie the shoelaces, sorry, but I would still want my kids to learn as well. And then if it takes me another couple of years after that, then fantastic. I still know it, even though it took me another, like 50 hours of trying to learn or something like that. it's something I'd be proud of because I did it, and it's because I did it myself, and the fact that it was always something that eluded me, and it was something I never managed to do properly. I did manage to do it, but with like someone there saying, "Okay, here, do this and that," very slowly. I was able to do it, but only with heavy coaching. And that was the time with my friend when I was 19. But spending several years, like, and spending several hours on it at a time, then I definitely will, like, learn a great deal about it. Like, so it's kind of just like the research part. I will do research, try to learn and refine my abilities, and that will be one part. That will be just one part. Like, for example, I've never had to, like, change a diaper before, a nappy. We call them nappies over here in America. They call them diapers. So I don't know what which you call them. I'd say it's more likely you call them diapers because diapers are the name they call them in America, but over here we call them nappies. So so I'll call them nappies and diapers. I'll change it about so you know what I'm on about. But I would change a diaper many times when we're parents, especially if we have more than one child. So in that space of 9 months, because it's something you have to do, in that first couple of years, then absolutely that is one of the main things I'd be trying to learn to do. And then when our son or daughter is born, then I would have you show me as well to do it in practical, because I won't, even though if I do 1,000 hours of research, until you do it practically. I'm not saying I'll do 1,000 hours of research. You get what I mean. It's just an exaggeration, but it's like doing 50 hours of research and tying the shoelaces unless you try to do it. And that's what I will be doing, actual attempts. But sorry, you messaged me here. But no, yeah. Um, it must have autocorrected something you said. Yeah, so if you look carefully, you might be able to see the tone, or sorry, the lighting change. Sorry, a tiny hair came off somewhere, like my eyelash or something. I think it was more likely my eyebrow, but yeah. So you might be able to see the change in the lighting whenever I go on and off this half app thing I was telling you about. But yeah, even though it's been an hour and 8 minutes since I started this one, I'm still a little talkative. But yeah, my throat is getting really, well, not really uncomfortable, but it is getting to that point now, and I kind of want a little break before I do any more. Um, but yeah, so things like that, you'll be showing me in practical how to do it. Then you'll be with me when I try to do it on my own. And I'm sure it'll be much easier than tying my shoelaces, to be quite honest. But because I haven't done it before, I still need to learn. So you would, I would learn first of all the research. Then I would watch you doing it, and you would tell me what you're doing while like, you're changing the nappy. And I mean like the kind of nappy itself to put it on. I don't mean the cleaning and stuff in between. Of course, I need to learn how to do all that correctly too. But I find that's just more kind of common sense stuff that I would know, but I would still ask you and still want to learn. But I mean the actual tying of the nappy and stuff like that, how to do stuff like that there. I know it's probably you take off this strap and then you attach the straps in for a different diaper, different nappy. But yeah, like I want to learn these things big time. Like I'll have 9 months, so I won't, like I have 9 months to learn these things, the more immediate things. So instead of like uh, researching what it's like to have a teenage daughter or teenage son or something, I've got over a decade to learn that. So it won't be the first thing I research. Sure, there'll be things I research in the first, or sorry, in the 9 months when you're pregnant. I'll be doing research on like the later years or whatever, but most, like 95% of the research I'll be doing will be focused on the first 2 years because I consider 1 to 2 as a baby, and then from 3 to maybe 5 as a toddler, and then from like 5 to um, let me see, from 5 to 10 would be a preteen, and then what is considered a tween. So it's like not a preteen, but before a teenager. So I'm so messing this up. Yeah, but I am right though. Well, I'm right in what I consider it as. But then obviously the teenage years are 13 to 19, and then the 20s, 30s, 40s, and so on. But yeah, so my most important part will be focusing on the first 2 years, the baby stage, and because those are the most vulnerable and vital parts of your life, then there's so much research needs to put into it. And just because whenever the kid is born doesn't mean I won't be doing any more research. I'll be definitely doing more research. Hang on, I'm about to message you that I'm recording. Uh, but that's what I look like whenever I'm messaging, just this kind of natural smile. Like I don't even notice it until I'm like either I see myself on the camera or mirror or something like that there. But even just when I think about you as well, I'm just like that. Um, you replied, but I'm going to wrap this one up. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed me explaining that. And the kind of I wasn't picking my nose by the way, I was rubbing here, but my nose itchy. Yeah. But yeah, my throat's going here now, really is. But I will wrap it up. And the kind of, even though this was just meant to be like a 2 minute video to be a presentation before the uh, the video review, um, what I will say is that having children is my ultimate life goal. You know, like I don't want to say which is more important because I don't know. You know, like because if I said having children is more important than having a wife, it doesn't count because they're all the same thing. So I tend to include them all into one. It's like having a family. So I've met you, I'm the daddy, you're the mommy, but the family's not there yet. Even though I'm delighted and so happy to be with you, the family hasn't started yet. So my main life goal is to start a family, to have a family. And even though I'm with you and it makes me the happiest man alive, we still got that part to do yet. And honestly, let's just say for some reason, if, for example, I couldn't conceive, for example, I would be heartbroken. I would absolutely be heartbroken. You would deserve somebody else because you want a baby. And yes, there is other options, but I want to do it the proper way. You know, like I want to do it the natural, proper way without any problems in between from my end. You know, like but yeah, you know, like I would still be happy with you, and I always will be. You know, like so never think about if something happens or whatever and we have no kids, would I be still happy? Yes, I'm happy with you now. And yes, I will always want a kid. But remember, there's always things in life we want. And this is the thing I want most, the family. You know, it gets, let's just say it takes three to complete. So we've got me and you. We didn't meet until September. And then when we met, we've got 2/3 done now. We've got just one thing to do to make us a family. And yes, I want more than one kid, of course. But even if it's just one, like I'm a single child, then that's it. It's our family. But even though that's the most important thing in my life, I've still got you. And it's not that I would be like, this isn't as happy as I thought it would be, so, like things like that. Yeah, I would be unhappy, and you would be too, because you want kids. But I would never break up with you or anything because of it. So just in case you ever thought that, please don't. And yeah, you're probably thinking, well, why am I talking about it? Because it's just something that kind of came to mind there now. It won't be the end. And I'm not saying it to make you scared or anything like that. I've never had any fertility tests or anything like that, so I don't know how fertile I am. But I'd say I'm fertile. I don't know. You know, like doesn't mean how horny you are. It just means it just means how fertile like your sperm is. Um, but oh, why did it go dark? It went very dark there for a second. Oh yes, yes. I thought like either the light behind me went dark or something, but it was because I didn't press anything on the screen for a while. But anyway, I mean that, babe. Me and you are forever, no matter what. And no matter what includes everything. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. So if like you ask me, oh, so what if, yep, what if, yep, what if, yep, included too. Like, so, like I do think about these things all the time, and not the negative stuff, but I mean like things about our future. I think about it all the time. And, like it's because I'm with you and I'm so in love with you that I think about this so much. Um, but yeah, my voice is going, and I'm in the mood to talk, so I want to actually take a break, maybe an hour or so. So then even though I'm definitely in the mood to do more talking, my voice needs. I could have to take an hour and a half break probably, but yeah, I'm so happy this was an hour and 20 minutes of just me talking random stuff from the time I got had to go to hospital because of drinking aftershave to the time my dad found drugs horrifically in my backyard, and to things like tie my shoelaces and and having a family, changing nappies and our future. Our future is together. Our future is destined to have kids because it's always something I've wanted. Even though when I was like 12, I never like thought of that. But like back then, my opinion would have been probably the same because there's not one time I'm like figuring out, yeah, yeah, I want kids. So when I actually was conscious of the fact that I wanted kids was when I became a teenager. So let's just say 14 and beyond. I wasn't like, oh my God, I want to be a dad now. I was more thinking, in my future, I want a loving wife and I want kids. So it's always been that way. And I think God has given me you because He knows my destiny and He knows my destiny is to be with you. And my destiny is to be an amazing father. I hope. Sorry if that sounds boastful, but that's what I dream of. Like to be an amazing husband, an amazing father, and that would just that means I'll be able to die one day, many decades in the future, a very happy man. And I know, sorry, I'm saying about me passing away, but my life would be complete at 89 years old, 95 years old, whatever, knowing that I did it. I've got children. They love me. I was the best dad I could be. And I was the best husband I could be. And that's all I want. So I know I keep saying this, but please never give up. Whatever comes across, whatever comes knocking, in life, never, ever back down. Never. No matter if it takes years, struggle through it because, I hate having to put burdens on you, but, I'm the same. It's better to struggle through hell if you're going to see heaven at the other side. Because I'd rather have that than know that there's pleasure now, but it's fake pleasure and then it's only going to lead to hell. That means that, well, what's the point? So what I'm saying is sometimes good things do take a while, to come to fruition, and sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes things just happen, and there's nothing we can do. Uh, you know, like hopefully my passport comes. I've sent away the what do you call it, the form, so it should take a month. It says up to a month, which means that that's the maximum. So I don't know what's the quickest it could come. I might look that up. I should look it up, but I'll be here whenever it arrives anyway. So I'll look out for post every day to see if there is any update on that. But anyway, I'm keeping you waiting. Hang on. I will message you so you can look at me. I hope you enjoyed this part. So to go back, I've told you about the game review. 21 minutes of me reviewing a game. I hope it doesn't bore you. It's my voice, so that's why I thought you would like it. If it was my voice, then I would never show it to you because what would be the point? But you always love listening to me, so I thought that would be something that you would like to, like to experience. And it's the kind of show you. I made some effort. Please, someone like it. And you would be I never showed my mother the whole video, by the way, so you would be probably the only person to watch start to finish other than me. I don't know if that's the case, but I have a reasonable hunch. But oh, sorry, you messaged me and it's quite urgent. Hang on. But I do implore you to not skip through any of the video, and I know that most likely the video will not be in just one big chunk. It'll be in separate videos, but I don't want you to skip any. I really don't. So, like, I know I've mentioned that, and I know you won't, but just want to make sure, like, because all of it's to me important, even the part where I was sleeping. Like, it's just connection, and it's my love from me to you to show you how strong my love is for you and how powerful my love is for you. But I'm going to, yeah, it's about time now. I have to take an hour and a half break. It might be longer. It shouldn't be, but yeah, I'll see what I'm like in an hour and a half, and then I will get to what I'm probably going to film next is the part where I talk to your family. So that's what you'll probably see after the game part, the game review. But I hope you enjoyed the game review, babe. I'm very excited to see like what you think about it. Because I will ask you a few questions. What do you think about this? And please don't just say you liked it. If you didn't, always be honest with me, babe. And I know you are. I know you are. But it's the kind of they call them white lies. Like it's like saying it's like um it's like saying to someone you love a nice thing that may not necessarily be true. It's not a total lie, but it might not necessarily be true. But it's to make sure the other person is happy because if you told the truth, then it would just hurt the person. However, when it comes to things that I know I can improve on, such as videos and stuff, then always tell me. Just say I wasn't the biggest fan of the review, but I like listening to your voice, stuff like that. I'm always happy to hear any kind of criticism, and I know you're not a critical person. You're a very down to earth, loving woman, babe, and that's why you're so amazing. But yeah, so don't ever be shy about telling me off, and you have told me off before, rightly so, rightly so. So it just kicked off there an hour and a half, so now I'm going to take an hour and a half break. So, babe, enjoy the video review, babe. I filmed it I need to check up the actual date so I can say it after this. But approximately midway through January to midway through February. January to January to February 2019. It's more likely January 2019 than February 2019, but let's just say I did the bulk of it in January 2019. So you'll get to hear what I was doing all those months ago, all those years ago, 4 years and was it 4 years and wow, yeah, it's a lot now, but yeah, all those years ago, almost 4.5 years ago now. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed, babe, and I will talk to you in a second with the other part, and hopefully by then my throat is not as 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 it is right now. I'm sure it'll be fine. I love you, babe. I'll see you in the next bit. Enjoy the review.